Hi everyone, and welcome to a Heroes Armory Mini. In celebration of the return of, well, a bunch of maps that I'm sure a lot of you are excited about, well, we're going to be going over them, and we're going to be talking about them because, well, they are some of the best ways to grind up SP, and a lot of you were asking me how exactly I go about doing my SP grinding, especially with these maps out now. And well, we're going to be going over that, so let's try the best practices to using these maps as well as quite a bit of preparation work that goes into it. So are you guys ready for the first ever mini Heroes Armory? This one's dedicated to you who are trying to refine your weapons as much as you possibly can. So let's start off with the easiest prep work. That of course is choosing your map, and just so we're clear, again, this is about SP. Not that you can't get EXP from this. In fact, I highly encourage using the Warriors maps for EXP. They are just simplistic and easy to do. But again, this is for SP. So the one map we're going to be aiming for is the hard mode of Camilla's map. That's the last map variation in the Warriors maps. I've seen people ask, why don't you just use Lunatic? Well, the simple fact here is that it's much more economical. First up, 35 means that you're going to get the full amount of SP on a kill, no matter the fact that you are capped out at 40. Of course, also add to the fact that enemies will be hitting you a lot less harder, and, well, I mean, 10 stamina is a lot less than 15 stamina. Not by too much, but it does help out. So let's talk about the harder preparation. I'm talking about skills and other things that will boost your SP without you really needing to do too much work. Well, I guess we'll just talk about that right now, shall we? So first up, of course, are Valor skills. Now, Valor skills are essentially just passives, kind of like Hones or things like that. They go in the C slot, and when that character is on the field, as long as they are alive and the skill is fully leveled up, you will be getting double the SP. For that weapon. Again, for that weapon. Make sure you have the proper Valor skill to match your weapon type. As you can see here, here are a list of all of the units that have the proper Valor skills for those you are aiming for. Now, a note about the Valor skills. First up, you're going to notice it right away that most of the units here, well, they're seasonal units. Outside of Gray, who, well, I mean, he's in the summoning pool, which means that's at least something, but all of these other units, unless you got them during that seasonal time, you know, that seasonal banner, then you will not be able to summon them right now until perhaps they return in a future event. So again, Valor skills are costly, and while they're great, it does require some preparation because you're going to need to have these units that are not necessarily easy to get. They're quite rare, and they can't be summoned on normal situations. They are not in the summoning pool, and that kind of hurts the situation here. The other problem, of course, is that there are not Valor skills for every weapon at this moment, at the recording of this video. Dragonstones, bows, and, well, technically Red Tome units are getting theirs with the next banner. But not all weapons are included, so if you don't see your weapon that you're using on this list here, then, well, unfortunately, you're going to have to go in without them. That's just, unfortunately, how the cookie crumbles. Now, outside of Valor skills, how exactly do you double your SP? Well, there is another way to do that, and that's through the new recent addition of Legendary Heroes. Legendary Heroes are special units that when you get them, you are also given a blessing, and this blessing allows you to apply it to another unit. This blessing includes certain things like stat increases when used with a certain legendary hero of the same element, and during a certain season. It's a lot of nonsense, trust me. But most importantly, when you use the blessing, that doubles their SP. And that means that, well, you can use that SP doubling effect even when the legendary hero is not in your party. So therefore, you can take that unit that's been blessed and run them out in a, well, a Warriors map without them, and you'll still get the double SP effect. And while that's great, and that's cool, I do have to warn you that, again, do not use a blessing unless you are certain you will be using that character later with that legendary hero. Again, It varies, it changes, and right now, while we only have one legendary hero, more will be added later, and of course you're going to want to pick and choose the right element for the character you're using. So don't do this willy-nilly, and only do this if you know for a fact that you are properly using this with a legendary hero. Alright, so now that we've done the preparation work, it's time to move on to the next thing, and that is actually doing the map. So, when it comes to grinding SP on the Warriors maps, well, there's two ways you can really go about doing that. First is the solo method, and the second is the ranged method, and we'll be going over those both real quick. The first one you see here is going to be the solo method, and the solo method is, well, pretty simple. You're just going to be using one unit, preferably the one that you want to gain SP on, you know, and you're going to just stick them out there a little bit and let them soak in all the damage and fight back. Generally, you want these units to be a bit beefy, have the ability to counterattack, because again, this whole strategy here, it is all enemy phase based. You're going to want to have a unit that can counterattack, so no fire sweep weapons, and even abilities such as Triangle Adept or even gem weapons can be a bit detrimental to this, so consider changing those out or just simply turning them off for right now. And from there, what you're going to do is, well, let that unit go out there. They're going to soak up the damage, take the hits, and counterattack and kill the rest of the units. Usually, most units that are melee-based can do this fairly functional. If you want to add a little bit more to that, you can, of course, equip them with certain abilities like Renewal or even Aether, so they can trigger that and, of course, heal themselves. Or you can bring along a healer, maybe even bring along a dancer, and then, of course, if you're using any sort of other skills, such as Valor skills, maybe your fourth unit can be that Valor skill. So, the solo strategy is pretty simplistic. You just sit that unit out there, and they absorb the damage. Occasionally, you may have to go in and take out a ranged unit. Tome units do spawn on this map, but that should be pretty easy as long as you are attentive. Hell, you can even auto-battle with this if you happen to have the right setup. Distant counter weapons, things of that nature. It really doesn't hurt. And in fact, it's pretty simplistic to use like this. So that is the solo strategy. Now, the next strategy is, well, for those units that just can't quite tank those really big mass mobs that come after you. So instead, we're going to be changing the strategy to the frail ranged strategy, which is, well, it's going to require a bit more work. You see, we're going to need two units, preferably those who can tank abilities fairly well. I would suggest more defense than anything else, because the mages tend to not do as much damage. And from there, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unequip their weapons. And then you're going to want to sit them at certain choke points. As you can see on the video right now, I've situated my units at those specific choke points. What this does is that the units will then flow down through those choke points and get caught. They'll of course try to attack your units that are blocking them, but they won't counterattack, and this allows your ranged unit to hopefully come in and deal the damage necessary to kill them. Now, if you're having some problems, maybe not being able to, do select amounts of damage with the unit you're using, consider doing things like giving your tank unit spurs that will help out in trying to attack, or maybe bring along a unit that can buff as well with that ranged unit. Maybe a healer, maybe a dancer, maybe even that Valor skill unit you wanted to use. It's really up to you. But this method here will allow, of course, your ranged unit to hopefully deal with things without having to worry about dying or going in and getting their, crap beaten out of them. That's pretty much the simplistic ways of talking about it, and the simplest ways of really dealing with this. When it comes to SP grinding, this is probably the best method for your, cost. As the cost, of course, relative to stratums or chain challenges of the like, typically you'll get more effectiveness out of this, as there are, I'd say, tens of units in this map, so you're going to be getting a lot more bang for your buck. And that's pretty much how I'm SP grinding right now, so for those who really want to know what's going on, there you go, you got your answer. And well, that's about it for me, guys. I hope this helped out a little bit with your SP grinding, and for those who are trying to refine weapons, or maybe, put certain abilities on your characters, that this helped out in some way, shape, and form. And if it did, feel free to leave a like, and hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time for Heroes Armory. So, catch you all very soon. Thank you all so much, and be sure to help out our charity of the month, Save the Frogs. All of our amphibian friends need some love too, so go check them out in the link below. For now though, nerds, catch you later.